do you, each individual, each person running for school board, do you feel that one solution would be to arm teachers? I'll start with you.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I was listening to 550 on the way home from work this morning on my way here. And I tend to agree with one of the parents who called in. If you have a concealed weapons permit and you are a teacher and you are willing to carry and you've had the background check and everyone knows that you're a good American, so be it. What is the harm in that? If it's locked in a lockbox or however that might look, I don't know if there's other schools who do this, but I'm a firm believer in defending if you can. If you are able to defend children, absolutely.
I had this question the other day, and my first thought was for our law enforcement officers when they get that call. And doesn't matter how fast they go, how fast they get to the school, how much they want to make sure nobody gets hurt. If that's the situation that's going on, everyone I've ever heard about in the last 20 years, they're not able to get there in time because it's a 30-second deal sometimes and it's over. And they can't get there and they have to live with that every day. And I know officers that have had that where it's been their friend's child that didn't make it through the onslaught. And personally, if I'm that teacher, if I know that teacher in my kid's classroom, my grandkid's classroom, if they can carry a gun and they're a responsible adult, that's what guns are for, is to defend. They're not about, and I'll just go there. The gun isn't the problem. It's the person pulling the trigger. And I would believe that in Mandan Public Schools, if that was the case, there would be such a rigorous testing that had to happen before any teacher would be allowed. They can have security officers in some of the schools, but they're not allowed to carry. Well, if an active shooter comes in and my weapon is out in the car, I'm no better than the police officer that can't get there in time. What does that do? I just believe wholeheartedly that if they are responsible, they should be able to carry, and there should be ways to do that very safely and very respectfully and very, not perfectly, but if it has to happen, it has to happen.
All right, so this is a little touchy. You're coming from the law enforcement side. I am not a sworn officer. I am a civilian, so I do not have, I don't carry or anything like that. But I work hand in hand, day in and day out with our school resource officers. We have 2 within the city of Mandan. And is that enough? Absolutely not. We need more, especially adding more schools, bigger schools. Our town is growing, and if you have an officer who is down at Fort Lincoln and you have something that happens at the middle school or at Red Trail, it's going to take them an amount of time to get there. Do I think that we have enough sworn officers? No, but Joe and I could go into that forever, and we'd never solve that problem. So, do I personally believe that teachers should carry? That I think is a very touchy subject, and I think that a lot of my officers would probably agree with that could be a nightmare within our school system, because they are trained to, when they hear gunshots, to run towards the gunshots. And if there's a teacher who is potentially shooting too, to try to defend their students, that teacher could end up losing their life, because at that particular moment, they might not know exactly who the gunshot or the firing is coming from. And so I think that would be super, super concerning. Is that the right answer? I don't know. That's my answer. So I think we need more officers within our schools. We need more officers within our city to be able to respond to situations like that. But again, that's a hill that I would die on.
I wouldn't feel comfortable putting that type of responsibility on a teacher. I don't think that teachers, although there could be teachers, of course, that may have, gun privileges to hold a gun and so forth, but I don't think that they have that expertise, like a law enforcement and a security officer might have. I think that all has to get explored. I think that our schools need to take a look at the budget to be able to increase our security systems and how we handle those things in the school systems. Looking at data, best practices, what has been done in other schools that have had those experiences already, and take a look at what has worked. That's the approach that I would take.
So I agree with everyone, which is probably not also a great way to start this, but I think Lorraine's right. To put this on our teachers is a little scary. They're there to teach our kids. If they feel comfortable doing so, I think that's a discussion that we need to have with our teachers. It goes back to what I was saying earlier about communication and open and honest conversations. Is this something that our teachers even want? I also don't know that I would feel comfortable increasing the number of guns in the schools, because I don't think that this is a gun issue. This isn't a Second Amendment issue. Like, we're not up here to debate that. It's about keeping our kids safe, and are there alternate ways that we can do this as far as security measures at the schools? Also, I agree with what Heidi said. 2 school resource officers for Mandan is just not, it's not enough. We need to get more, and then we can give them the training and give them the guns to protect our students, while our teachers, and not protect our students, protect our staff, protect everybody. So I would have to say, I don't feel comfortable arming our teachers, but I do think we need to give them the resources, whether that's the school resource officers, more secure buildings, more secure fences around our playgrounds, right? They're very accessible by anyone and everyone. We don't have to be worried about just school shootings. There are a lot of different types of predators out there that we need to make sure that our community is staying safe from.
In order for arming teachers, I would first have to, I would like to hear what our Mandan Education Association, how they felt about it. And then also for law enforcement, because law enforcement is trained, they have to go through a lot of training. And for me to get my concealed permit, it's not near the training that law enforcement. So between the staff at the Mandan Public School staff and Mandan Police Department, I'd have to hear from them first to see what they would suggest. We do have some safety measures in place, but maybe we need more. We're looking at spending a lot of money at the high school, and some of it is on the look of the building. Well, should maybe some of that should it be going towards school security? It's a tough issue, because oftentimes if some demented, some wacko wants to get in somewhere, they usually can, unfortunately. It's a sad situation. So I would have to get more information from like NEA, law enforcement.